Hi everyone, my name is Nancy Chen. I'm an investment director in Livingbridge's Value Strategy Group. As part of our Spotlight series on inspirational female leaders within our portfolio, I'm really lucky today to be joined by Frances Russell, who is the CEO of Absolute Collagen. Hi Frances, lovely to see you.
Hi Nancy, lovely to see you.
So Frances, what I'd love to do today is talk a bit about your career and sort of your journey and how you sort of got to being CEO of Absolute Collagen today. So maybe first, just it'd be great to sort of hear your perspectives on your current role, what you're doing at AC, and sort of all the exciting things that are currently going on.
Of course. Well, yeah, I'm very privileged to be the CEO of Absolute Collagen. I joined in November last year, so coming up 4 months now. And I think what really made me want to join the business was just the opportunity that I saw there. It's a very nascent category where people actually don't really know what collagen does, that it depletes, and that you need to, or you should be taking a supplement in order to keep the collagen levels up, the protein levels up, which have numerous sort of medical but also beauty pieces which help your skin, your hair, your joints, etc. But also so it's a subscription business, which is really interesting about value. But then also we've got a very strong new product development piece where we're looking at other products that live within this collagen world. And the third part is international. We're a British brand, and we're really excited to see how the brand travels, and have got some quite big plans around where the brand can be. So it was really the opportunity to be at something quite early on and really add value.
Yeah, I mean, so exciting, and I completely agree. So much opportunity, and I mean, it's, as someone who's on the board, it's just great to have you there, to be honest. And look, before sort of Absolute Collagen, you obviously had a very long career across various senior roles in fashion. So it'd just be great to understand, if you think back to when you started at Arcadia, why did you decide to sort of join Arcadia, go into fashion? How did you work your way up to being managing director of Burton & Evans?
Gosh, well, I did an economics degree, but always sort of loved fashion. And I've always been quite a left-right brain person, so I love data, but I also love creativity. And I looked into it, and merchandising, which is what I went into in fashion, which is the kind of numbers side of the fashion business. How do you create the categories? What sort of quantities do you buy? Supply negotiations just seemed to fit with the sort of role I was looking for. And of course, at the time, a long time ago now, it was a massive, growing, young community. So it just felt right at the time. And I always, wanted to, I'd say I'm quite a curious person. I wanted to invent. And, you really have the opportunity to invent new things, new categories, new opportunities, new ways of doing business. So that's really what took me to Arcadia. How did I work my way up? Gosh, I think it's about really, as I say, being inventive and always looking for something new. Don't accept the status quo. If you've always done it that way, that's okay, but could we do it a different way? And would you get a different outcome? So I guess that sort of drive in me was seen by, people, and I got promoted. I also think that, and I still work on it today, and nobody's perfect, being a good people leader is really, really important. And frankly, by the time you get to the more senior roles, that's really the job, is leading and motivating. You're not actually doing their job. And you have to learn about other people's roles. So that's, I would say, sort of how I got there.
And so you then moved to M&S, where you headed women's wear, lingerie and beauty. So did you take all of those skills you learned at Arcadia over to M&S, and what were the sort of things you had to change, or new things that you learnt in your new role?
Yeah. So I did know people from Arcadia M&S, so I knew at the time Stuart Rose. So again, we'll probably talk about networking. But yeah, I mean, look, every business is different, and going from a young fashion business to a quite staid, traditional retailer was quite a shock, and I think one of the things I would say in my career is you have to be adaptable. You have to allow yourself time to understand culture. I think sometimes people make mistakes by thinking, oh, well, I'll change it all. And change was needed, and that's what I did. But you just need to give yourself time, because people around you need to understand what needs to be changed and get some proof points from you about what needed to change. And, we did a big piece on supply. M&S had a very traditional supply base. And, I said, look, we can go direct. And that was met with horror, but over time, and I'm not saying too long, that really made a significant difference, both to the quality of the product and also, the bottom line margin. So, I think adaptability and making sure you do listen to people and don't think that everything there is wrong and everything is right. I always say I make 100 decisions a day. If 95 of them are right, I think I've got a pretty good batting average.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, talking about adaptability, you then sort of did a bit of a shift and moved from retail, bricks and mortar retail, to Amazon, which is a completely different world. How did you find that transition, and what were some of the things that were unexpected and I guess expected as well?
Yeah, and it's something I would always say to people is, I always, when you're making a decision, I, like we all do, get thousands of opportunities every day to do different things. But I always think to myself, how will I feel if I reject this one and I see someone else who's got that role? How will I feel about that? And that's really what made me go to Amazon. Was, I thought, gosh, you're not going to get those opportunities that often to start something new. So, I went in as a vice president for fashion in Europe in order to just build private brands. There was no roadmap. There was no, this is how you do it, and this is the team. There was me, having come from M&S to this. It was a total shock. And I'd been used to all talking to a PA, and suddenly I had to do everything myself. But that's good experience. I think you need to always be very careful about becoming too rarefied in your own atmosphere. So I think the biggest change for me, and I think the thing that I learned the most, was data. The rigor and the use of data, particularly in a fashion business where, intuition and feeling it can play a part. With Amazon, you really had to know your facts, and you had, big meetings where anyone could challenge you. So I think the learnings I made around, being able to go deep into data, be able to really understand insights, create a strategic plan, be prepared to be challenged in a way I'd never been challenged before, was fantastic learnings. I mean, it's a hard-working environment, of that be no doubt, but I learned a huge amount.
If you reflect back over the 3 sort of different experiences you've had, what was the one thing that kept you going, kept you motivated through all of those, and sort of make sure you woke up every morning or excited to go to work?
I think learning. I always say to people, take career MOTs, think about, am I still learning? Am I still adding value? And are there still things that we could do better? And if either of those questions are no, I would think about where you are, so for me, it's always about, I can see an opportunity, I can find a way to do this, I can solve a problem. And that's what keeps motivating me to get out of bed. And I see the same at Absolute Collagen.
And then if you were sort of speaking to other ambitious young women trying to develop their career as senior leaders, what's the one piece of advice that you think is really important for them to know?
Ooh, I'd say I've got a couple, if you don't mind.
Yeah, of course.
I think one is, don't be afraid. You will find yourself in rooms where there are lots of, white males, and make sure you aren't afraid to speak up. And that can be quite daunting. I get it. I still sometimes find it, but you've got value, and make sure your point of view is listened to. And so I think, being bold and brave is important. And I think one thing I'd always say I'm not very good at, that I think women should be better at, is networking. You will find that roles come around because of people you knew, or somebody remembered you. And that's how I got to Amazon. That's how I went to M&S. And you learn from your network as well. You talking to other women, other men, other whomever, you really will understand better the marketplace and what's going on. So for me, it's be bold and network.
Great. That sounds like very, very sound advice. So last question from me is, what are you most excited about over the next few years?
I'm really excited about driving the ACE brand forward, and from taking it from a small to medium-sized brand to a large brand. And I think we've got so many challenges. The macro environment at the moment is very challenging, but I can really see a path to developing both the subscription business, but also the product topicals business. And that for me is just so exciting, and building a really high performing team. I'm really looking forward to helping the business bring in great talent.
Great. Well, that's everything from me today. It's been really, really great talking to you, and thank you.
Thank you.